What's going on with it, guys? I am coming at you today with my first ever edition of NFL Weekly Picks. You know, I've never actually done this before, and I've never done it for a few different reasons. One of the main reasons is just because I don't really like predictions that much. I think it's just a bunch of guessing, and it's usually always like inaccurate. And also, this channel is obviously primarily a Jaguars YouTube channel, and you know, I kind of put out the videos that you guys like the most, not necessarily what I kind of like posting the most. And generally, my Jaguars videos get a lot more views than just my regular NFL kind of like videos. So that's kind of why I stick to Jaguar stuff. And a big reason why I stick to Jaguar stuff is just because, you know, I don't feel like with no disrespect to any other people out there, like, I don't think anybody knows Jaguars necessarily more than I know the team. You know, I think I'm an expert on the team, and you know, I don't know teams, you know, like I don't know like the Los Angeles Rams that well, or I don't know the Green Bay Packers as well when it comes to in-depth knowledge on the team. You know, I can sit here and name off the whole entire Jaguars roster. You know, I can't do the same for other teams. So, you know, I just feel like I give everybody a good interpretation and good analysis on the Jaguars, which, you know, I feel like I know very well. But at the same time, man, there's a lot of people that watch all my videos that are subscribed to me that aren't even Jaguars fans. They just kind of like what I have to say, and you know, I've been getting a lot of requests to do weekly NFL picks, and you know, since you guys like it, you know, since you guys kind of want it so bad, you know, I'll start putting out these videos as long as you guys like it. You know, if this video can get maybe like 100 likes, you know, maybe I'll start doing this like week to week. But you know, I'll see kind of what the popularity of this kind of series is. I'm probably going to be putting out these videos on Friday, most likely. I'll just skip the Thursday night game just because, you know, I'd rather make them a little bit later. But yeah, that's kind of how we're going to roll with this. But you know, you can find the timestamps down below if you want to go to your particular team. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. Now, the first matchup we have is a 1 o'clock matchup, an AFC South matchup between the Houston Texans and the Tennessee Titans. As a Jaguars fan, I look at this game kind of with mixed feelings, just not really know who to cheer for. But when you look at it, man, the good thing about this game is one of these teams is going to go 0-2, which is always nice. But, man, when I look at this matchup, you know, I've always been a person that kind of thought that Deshaun Watson and the Texans were kind of overhyped. I just thought they had more questions than answers. You know, they have a pretty good wide receiving core. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is the second best wide receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. They also have Deshaun Watson, who lit up the NFL last year, but, you know, he's coming in. You know, I like to get a lot larger of a sample size before I put a guy like that in the Hall of Fame like all these other people are wanting to do. You know, he's a 3-4 record as a starter in the NFL. But their offensive line, man, their offensive line might be the worst in the NFL. And, you know, in my opinion, for Deshaun Watson to have had a successful career, like a successful year, he's going to have to play a lot like Russell Wilson. You know, he's going to have to play kind of with a bad offensive line. But the difference between Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson is just the experience that Russell Wilson has. You know, when you look at the Texans, when you looked at Deshaun Watson last game, he was looking down at the line a lot. You know, I don't think he fully had trust in the offensive line, and he's going to need that, as, you know, there's not going to be really any help coming in on the offensive line. And you also look at the Tennessee Titans. You know, the Tennessee Titans, very disappointing week last week, losing to the Miami Dolphins, who, you know, no one's projecting them to be all that great of a team. Now, we'll get a 4-game sample size out of all these teams to really determine what they're worth. You know, you saw kind of like the Ravens last week. They got their ass whooped, or they whooped the Bills' ass. The next thing you know, they lose to the Bengals. So you got to get a little bit bigger of a sample size. But Tennessee did not look very good, losing to the Dolphins. You know, Mariota got hurt. You also had Delaney Walker out for the year, Taylor Lewan. You had a couple more injuries with Rashad Evans and Harold Landry. You know, this team, man, I don't know what to expect out of them. You know, they have a good roster, but at the same time, man, a lot of it's about coaching. You know, they fired Mike Mularkey last year after a playoff run. They just didn't look very good in this game with a very, very extended time, you know, with a bunch of delays and stuff like that. I will probably watch this game and give you guys a recap, just since it's so, you know, has to do with the Jaguars in a way. It's going to affect the Jaguars in the AFC South a lot. So in this game, I have Houston Texans taking the edge, just because, you know, Tennessee just I don't know. They don't look to have an identity. Mariota, Vrabel went out and said this week that he expects both Gabbert and Mariota to get playing time this game. Like, what the hell does that mean? You know, usually when you have these two quarterback sets, like you saw last Thursday night with Lamar Jackson would come in there, and then like, what does the other quarterback do? It's basically Joe Flacco lining up at the edge, just standing up with his thumb up his ass, not really knowing what to do. You know, I expect Texans to probably win this game. I give them the slight edge playing at Tennessee. So next game we have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Le'Veon Bell's out another week with the Steelers, and this will be probably a high-scoring game. I mean, I don't really trust the Chiefs' defense that much. They lost a lot of talent, you know, this offseason, and they're going to be a team that's going to have Patrick Mahomes and their offense really keep up with the amount of points that their defense is giving up. You know, I do think that the Steelers are the better team, even though they did tie the Browns last week. But, you know, I have the Browns. In my preseason prediction, I had the Browns actually making a wild card. You know, they're a talented team. I don't know about their head coach, Hugh Jackson, but we'll kind of see what comes out of that. But I'll go ahead and give the Steelers the edge this game. I'll have the Steelers winning this one, even though I could definitely see the Chiefs winning this one. I just don't trust the Chiefs' defense against Pittsburgh's offense, even though I love Tyreek Hill, man. Tyreek Hill is an absolute beast. The next week we have the Eagles playing at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Eagles this game, although I'm interested to kind of see what the Bucs do. You know, I really hope that this offseason, man, I hope Fitzpatrick leads this team to a 3-0 record with Jameis Winston out. You know, the Fighting Fitzpatricks, just because I love controversy in the NFL with teams. You know, I love teams that's like scrambling. And I don't like Winston. You know, I would love for Winston to come back, and they're really scrambling. Should we start Fitzpatrick? Should we start Winston? You know, it'd be funny if Winston or if Fitzpatrick were to lead the Buccaneers to a 3-0 record, and next thing you know, Winston goes in there and loses. I just think that'd be kind of funny, and I love teams having to make tough decisions like that. But Eagles, Super Bowl champions, I still feel like they're being disrespected in a lot of ways. I think the Falcons, I think most people were actually picking the Falcons to win last week, but the Eagles, you know, with the underdog masks, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Eagles this game. Next week, we have the Los Angeles Chargers at the Buffalo Bills. I've got the Los Angeles Chargers winning this game because the Bills absolutely suck. You know, I don't know how you go from a playoff team to all of a sudden doing what they're doing. You know, I hate that Nate Peterson has been playing so bad just because the guy is from Jacksonville. He's a Jacksonville boy. He's just not a very good quarterback. You know, they're going to be starting Josh Allen, who he's going to have to take a little bit of transition into this league just because the guy is so raw. You know, he's not used to playing up to the caliber of some of these NFL defenses as he played out there in Wyoming. But, you know, it doesn't matter who's playing the Bills. I'm going to pick the other team. So that week I have the Chargers actually winning. Next week we have an NFC South showdown between the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, Falcons are favored to win this game, but I'm going to go ahead and go with the Carolina Panthers. I thought the Panthers defense played really well last week, and you know, I like some of the weapons on the offense. Even though Greg Olsen, I believe, is injured now, but you know, I'm a fan of Cam Newton. I like what he has to offer at the quarterback position. Christian McCaffrey, man, he's a huge X factor in that offense. I do like me some Christian McCaffrey, so I'll go ahead and go with the Carolina Panthers to win this one on the road and put the Falcons at an 0-2 record. Now, this next week I have the Colts playing the Redskins. Now, the Redskins had a pretty big victory last week against the Arizona Cardinals, but I do have the Colts winning this game, a huge underdog pick. I just think Andrew Luck with, you know, they'll be able to kind of win somewhat of a shootout with the Washington Redskins. The Colts have a pretty good offensive line, especially the interior of the offensive line with guys like, you know, center Ryan Kelly. I believe, what's the guard? Yeah, they have a guard out of Auburn. I think his name's Isaiah Wynn. That might be the guard out of Georgia. I don't know. I get these guys' names mixed up, especially with rookies. And they also have Quentin Nelson. So we'll see if Marlon Mack will be back. But they have a good offense. I expect this to be like a game in the 30s, you know, scoring points in the 30s. But, you know, as long as Andrew Luck doesn't... One thing about Andrew Luck, he's a great quarterback, but he turns it over at very, very inopportune times. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Colts to win this game. Next week we had the Browns at the New Orleans Saints. The Saints last week threw up a stinker against the Buccaneers. Sure, they put up points, but their defense was just letting Fitzpatrick do whatever the hell they wanted with him. I think Fitzpatrick was ranked the highest quarterback last week, but they're playing the Browns. The Saints, they've got to wake up now. They had to wake up at home, playing their second home game in a row. I will pick the Saints to win this one, but wouldn't be surprised if the Browns went in there and won it. And if the Saints drop to an 0-2 start, that would be absolutely tragic for that team. Now, the next week we have the Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to go ahead and take the Vikings to win this one. They have a tremendous defense. Aaron Rodgers is obviously questionable this game. I just think that the Vikings are one of the most complete teams in the NFL. They have a great run game. They have a great quarterback. They have, great defense also. The Packers almost lost to the Bears last week, and they're kind of riding a high, but I expect the Vikings to beat them in a close game. Now, this next week, I have the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets, and I am on the New York Jets hype train. I was someone who saw the Jets as a huge sleeper team. I saw them have a good defense. Especially their secondary is very, very underrated. They have guys like Marcus May out there. They have guys like Tremaine Johnson, Jamal Adams. Their defense that's really missing a true good pass rusher to be able to be one of the most elite defenses in the NFL. I think this team could be very, very valuable. You got Sam Darnold, who's looking to be the best rookie quarterback out of this whole class. And, the AFC, the NFL needs Sam Darnold to be a franchise quarterback, man. Because the Patriots, if you look at the AFC East quarterbacks these last 15 years, the best quarterback has been Tom Brady, obviously. But who's the second best quarterback been? Probably Jimmy Garoppolo. There's been just bad quarterbacks go in and out of the division, and it's why the Patriots have been running through this division this last, 15 years. So we need Sam Darnold to be that guy to be able to overtake the Patriots dynasty. I've got the Jets beating Miami to go to a 2-0 record. I hope Sam Darnold can be the guy, and I'm on the Jets hype train right now. So I've got the Jets winning this one, taking care of business against the Dolphins. Now, next I had the Detroit Lions against the Fighting Jimmy Garoppolos. The Lions looked terrible last week against the Jets. They got their ass whooped on Monday Night Football at home, and Jimmy Garoppolo obviously lost last week to the Vikings. I see the 49ers bouncing back and beating the Lions. I just think Jimmy Garoppolo is a good quarterback, and Detroit Lions, man, how can anybody pick them to beat anybody after this game last week? It'd be interesting to see the Lions versus Bills, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the 49ers that game, getting a bounce back win. Next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to go with the Rams this one. Just a lot more talented a team, a lot better of a team. There's really not much analysis on that. I'll just go ahead and take the LA Rams. Next week, I have the Oakland Raiders against the Broncos. Now, the Raiders got punked by the Rams last week in John Gruden's debut. But then the Broncos actually beat the Cowboys in a pretty ugly game last week. But I'm going to go with the underdog. I'll go with the Oakland Raiders to beat the Denver Broncos. I still feel like the Broncos are slightly of an overrated team. I have Royce Freeman on my fantasy team, so hopefully he takes off. But, I'm going to go ahead and go with the underdog. I'll go with the Oakland Raiders. I still do think they have some talent. Obviously, they lack a pass rush. R.I.P. Khalil Mack. Thanks, Raiders, for getting his ass out of the AFC. But, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the, Raiders to win this one. Now, next week, I have the Patriots against the Jaguars. I'll probably be choosing the Jaguars to win every single game on my season predictions, just because last year, week 1, I actually picked the Jaguars to lose to the Texans, and the Texans went out and lost. I picked the Texans to beat the Jaguars. After that, I'm like, you know what? I'm not picking against the Jaguars anymore. I don't want to be that guy. So Jaguars are a very, very good team. The Jaguars are going to establish themselves this game as a top dog in the AFC. So I'll go ahead and take the Jaguars to beat the New England Patriots at home. I'll be live streaming this game on the channel. So subscribe, hit the bell, ding, and yeah, let's go Jaguars, man. Sunday Night Football. For whatever reason, the Jaguars are not in this slot. They picked the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys, and I actually think I actually picked the Giants to win this one. I actually think the Giants are a pretty decent team. You know, I think they'll finish at least 8-8. And I don't think the Cowboys are very good at all. You know, their offense is just super predictable. Dak just has been regressing these last couple of years. And, you know, Giants have all kinds of weapons on offense. You know, I think both defenses are about equal, although, you know, we'll see if Olivier Vernon comes back. They got Snacks Harrison at the interior of the line. You know, they have Eli Apple, who played pretty well last week against the Jaguars. You know, they also have they have the Jackrabbit, you know, the guy that played at University of Florida, Janoris Jenkins. He's a good player. Landon Collins. Yeah, I'll go ahead and take the Giants, man. I think the Giants are a pretty underrated team under Pat Shurmur. Once they get their shit figured out with the new schemes and new coaches, I mean, they're a team that completely overthrew, you know, their whole entire coaching staff, their GM. They're transitioning from a 4-3 to a 3-4 defense. I'll take the Giants this game. And the Monday night game, we have the freaking Seahawks against the Chicago Bears. Kind of a boring matchup. The Bears looked good last week, man, but they obviously got Aaron Rodgers, and it happens to a lot of teams when they play great quarterbacks like that. You know, the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Mannings, the Aaron Rodgers, they're all able to come back just because they're tremendous quarterbacks. I see the Bears, you know, you saw a lot of good things out of them last week. Khalil Mack's a complete animal. I'll take the Bears to beat the Seahawks in this matchup. You know, Seahawks, they have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. I'll go ahead and say they're the second worst behind the Texans. You know, it's going to be a tough time blocking guys like, you know, like Khalil Mack and Roquan Smith and stuff like that. Roquan Smith got a sack on his first freaking NFL snap. You know, the Bears, they're going to be a good team. Maybe not this year, but definitely for years to come, man. They're stocking up on talent. They're a team that's probably going to be getting a lot better as the season goes on. But yeah, those are my week 2 picks. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. And yeah, man, I'll be looking forward to seeing how some of these games play out. But yeah, this is UCF Jaguar with GenJag.com, and I'm out of here.